So, what are the major differences between my previous Jeep Wrangler and the one that we currently have now? This is a 2018 Jeep Wrangler Sport S. Technically, not technically, realistically, it is my wife's Jeep. I recently traded off the 2024 that I had because frankly, I just decided, you know, we already have a Jeep. We don't need another Jeep. So we kept hers. Of course we kept hers. But what are the big differences, right? Well, first of all, the style of it. I mean, it is orange. It's pumpkin orange. Now, I don't hate this color. Matter of fact, I think it looks pretty darn sharp on the Jeep Wrangler. This is the color that she wanted. We actually built this Jeep, back in 2018. So it's all spec'd out the way that she wanted it. And we went with the V6 engine as opposed to the Turbo 4, which is what my previous Jeep Wrangler was. It was the Turbo 4. And not that it was any slouch. It was pretty darn quick and still felt pretty powerful, but this one is even quicker. I would say that up until we got that car back there, it was the quickest vehicle that we had in the fleet, if you will, right? I also have a Toyota Tacoma, the new redesigned, if you weren't aware. But style of it, I mean, now, the one thing I do have to mention, this grille, it's kind of an angry face look to it. It's what my wife wanted. I installed it. She loves it. Not really my thing. I kind of prefer the original round headlight 7 slat grille, but it's what she wanted. Doesn't look horrible, and it does provide for a heck of a lot of light and interest, I guess, on the front. Otherwise, it's still a two-door Jeep Wrangler. Still love the way that they look. Next up, let's talk about ride quality. It's something that I had mentioned a lot in comparing these two Jeeps when I had the other one. And mine was much better, much smoother, rode better on the road, didn't ride the cup of the road so much, and was definitely not as bumpy and as bouncy as what this one behind me here is. Now, there's a reason for why this one is the way that it is. It's not Jeep's fault. This is not a Jeep quality problem. It's because we lifted it. She wanted a lift on the Jeep, so we did. We went with a block and spacer. It is a 3-inch lift, so obviously it is quite a bit higher than what my previous stock Jeep was. I love the stance of it. I think it looks freaking awesome. It looks aggressive, tough, mean. I think it came out really well. Of course, a sacrifice was the ride quality. Now, in addition to that, she did want bigger wheels, or bigger tires, I should say. So we did do that. These are the Falcon Wild Peaks. If you watch any of my other videos, you know they're the ones I like the best. These are a 285/70 R17. They do provide for an awesome ride. Of course, 17-inch fuel wheels. And these wheels have an offset of such that it gives us a pretty good wheel poke on the side of the Jeep. It pushes everything out. Just gives you a tougher looking stance, I think, on the Jeep Wrangler. Of course, we do have the same thing on the back here. And that's one thing I would point out. If you're going to go with different or bigger tires on your Jeep Wrangler, make sure you match the spare. Number one, it just looks really hokey if you don't have a matched spare on the back. It doesn't match everything. You can get away with that if you put a cover over it, then nobody ever knows what's back there, right? But it just looks much better with the same kind of wheel and tire setup. Of course, functionally, if you ever need to use that spare, you do want it to be able to be used, I guess. So if you go a lot bigger on the 4 tires, you're going to want that spare to be the same size or pretty darn close so that you're not riding down the road kind of like this if you ever have to put that spare on. Next, I mentioned the power. The power in this Jeep is, I'm not sure if I would use the word or should use the word substantially better, but it certainly is noticeably better. Power in the form of pickup and acceleration. This V6 just jumps on this Jeep. I mean, it's just a two-door Jeep, right? So it's pretty darn light. You slap a V6 in it and it goes. We also have the throttle controller in it. That doesn't hurt either. It just makes it really, really fast. Now, let's talk about height. I mentioned we did lift it 3 inches. It does make it a bit more difficult to get in and out of. She has the side steps on the side, the running boards, so that she can kind of step up into the Jeep. Honestly, I kind of find them a little bit in the way, but if you're going to get up, I mean, and you're lifting your leg up here, it's a pretty good distance to get up with that 3-inch lift height. And that doesn't even take into account the height that the tires added. So we probably end up somewhere between 3.5 and 4 inches in height difference. Again, looks great, but you do sacrifice a little bit of the ease of getting in and out of the Jeep. Now, is this one okay? You know, am I gonna be able to live with having this Jeep, or at least access to it, to be able to drive once in a while, to get my Jeep fix, and of course continue to do mods and things? Well, the mods part of it is absolutely, of course. I mean, you can do the same number of mods to this as I could the other one that I had. I just did one recently, actually blacked out the fog lights in the front. It came out really well. If you haven't seen that video, if I can remember, I'll link it below. If not, it's pretty close to when I put this video out. It is just a wrap, a film, if you will, over those lights. They came out really well. It was pretty easy to do. And since we have this Rubicon style stubby bumper on here, they were very easy to get to right here from the back. A couple of screws, they pull right out. Very easy to do. There are some other things that we're going to look to do with this Jeep. There's a lot that's been done to it already. Obviously the lift and the lights and the grille and the fog lights and the bumper. Some things inside, the stubby antenna, back on the back. I think I would be interested in probably putting some kind of a tow hook setup, maybe another one like that, or maybe 2 completely different ones. I think it needs that just to kind of balance the back end of the Jeep out. We do have the tail lights that are aftermarket, and also an aftermarket light up here in the top, and then the extra heavy duty, I guess, holder for the car or the tire carrier. And then we do have a panel inside here that lights up when you hit the brake. Just little things like that. Of course, her stickers, if you didn't know, she's Canadian. There's a cap over the chrome key lock cover. Lots of little stuff like that, and much more to come. Anyway, I just wanted to get on and kind of run through in my own head the comparisons between this Jeep and the one that I had. I think it's going to be fine for me. It's still going to allow me to have a Jeep to drive when I want, and also mods and things that I can do as well. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Should I have kept both Jeeps? Was there any reason to have 2 Jeep Wrangler 2-doors? Or just be happy with the one that I have? Leave a comment. Let me know. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.